Good morning. Welcome to some more yoga with me. I believe there have been, me, Emily. I believe there have been some requests for neck, shoulder, sort of sitting at a desk posture. So as you can see, we have some specialty equipment today. I don't actually have any bolsters or yoga bolsters at home. So I just like to use some pillows. You can grab one or two. And then the other thing that's pretty important today is some kind of dowel or broom handle or something like that. And we're going to use it for a little bit of self-massage, but also kind of use it as an implement later on in the class as well. So you can see they've got like this screwy end so that you don't actually have to have the dusty broom sweeping around by your face, giving you an allergic reaction while you're doing yoga. Hopefully you all have a dowel. If you don't, check out my other shoulder class with the strap, and that will work really well. So we're just going to jump right into it without any breathing or yeah, we'll do that after, because the first thing we're going to do is use this to get into some of the muscles in the neck. And if you've been in my classes before, we do this once in a while. I'm going to turn around. I've got the mic so you'll still be able to hear me. So the idea is that you want to be using this towel as a tool of self-massage, right? And you want to start it way up at the base of the skull, and you can feel there's a little lip there. You can start up high and just kind of roll it down until you feel, oh yeah, it presses in. Now, before we get too far into it, remember this is a very blunt instrument. This is not like getting a massage or even using your own thumbs to dig into the muscles, right? This is very, very blunt. So be careful with yourself. And we're going to be rolling the neck. You never want to roll it straight up and down or flat against the neck, because you don't want to get those spinous processes, the little bumps on the vertebrae with these. I don't want to be responsible for you like breaking those off. So always on an angle so that you're missing those spinous processes. Aside from that, let's get into it. So bring the dowel up and base of the skull, and then find that little ridge and pause there. It doesn't matter as much if you're on an angle here, but it does get a bit deeper if you're on an angle. So these muscles that you're pressing into right now are called the suboccipitals. And what they do, not only are they responsible for helping to hold your skull onto your neck, which is, pretty important, but they also control eye movement. So one thing you can try here is try closing your eyes or opening them, and you might get some feedback into the dowel depending on how tight these muscles are, or keep the eyes closed and move the eyeballs around in the sockets, and maybe you get some feedback there. And again, it depends on how stressed you are or how well you've been sleeping. And we're just pressing into these. Right, we're not going to roll our necks like pastry up and down and up and down. We're just going to slowly move down. If you're getting a lot of sensation at the top here, then you might just pause and stay there. Maybe you're not getting as much sensation, so you start to slowly roll down a little bit at a time. And if you find somewhere that feels particularly sensational or interesting, you just pause there and keep pressing the dowel in. Again, you don't want to roll up and down and up and down. And then maybe slowly rolling down a little bit more. As much or as little pressure as you need to press into the neck. And one of the cool things about this is that the further down that you get in the neck, closer to the shoulders, the more muscle attachments there are, and the stronger, the meatier these muscles get. So levator scapulae, the scalenes, scalenes are in the front, I forget. Upper trapezius anyway, the shrug muscles, let's just call them that. And so you can start to put a little bit more oomph into it, right? You can press down, depending on how long your stick is, you could hang your arm, getting the weight of the arm into it. And then you can really start to press in, again, depending on how much or how little you need. So last few moments on this first side. I pride myself on knowing my anatomy, and there I go, just slipping up. I'll get back to you on that one. And then you're welcome to pause the video and keep doing it for longer on this side if you like. Otherwise, when you're done, you're done. Bring the dowel in front, close your eyes, and simply notice how you feel from one side to the other. Even after that short amount of time of massage or fascial release, you might not notice any differences, and that's okay too. Okay, flick your eyelids open. Let's go to the opposite side. So remember, starting up at the base of the skull, find that little lip, bonk, right, where it rolls under, and pause there, right, on those suboccipitals. You want to just keep pressing into them a little bit or a lot, depending on how much they need. You know, there was one time I was going through a very, very stressful period in my life, and the thing that I needed most to be able to do was to sleep. But I couldn't because my suboccipitals were so tight. As soon as I started to close my eyes, I would get a blinding headache. So that's how I learned about suboccipitals, was to get in to see a massage therapist. So maybe you stay here a bit longer. Maybe you start rolling down. Ooh. Maybe you find somewhere that feels interesting and makes you go, ooh. Often these sort of lateral edges on the vertebrae, right? If you think about them, they kind of have wings. Those are the facet joints. Often the muscles around there can be quite tight. So if you're feeling that laterally, then that might be that. And again, you just keep slowly rolling down until you find somewhere that needs a little bit of pressure, and then you pause there, keeping the dowel on an angle. And the lower down you get, maybe you feel like you need a little bit more pressure. Whew. Often one side will be tighter than the other. Usually it's your dominant or handed side that will be tighter. Also, maybe if you sleep on one side more than the other, often that one could be tighter. For me, that happens to be the same side. I'm right-handed and I usually sleep on my right, so the right side of my neck usually tends to be quite a bit tighter. It looks like it's my left side. Last couple moments, maybe really start to press down with the dowel or hang the weight of the arm on it. You can move around a little bit too at the base, because you're not in any danger of snapping anything off. Good, last couple breaths. And then gently release, ditch the dowel off to the side. We'll use it again, and then come back to center, eyes closed, just breathe. Notice whatever you notice. And then give yourself a little head wobble. Couple deep breaths. And then gently flick your eyelids open. And if you're sitting up on something like I am, remove it off to the side. And then this is where we get a little bit tricky for setup. You're going to grab your pillows, either one or two or however many you need to use. You don't want them to be too long. So if you have like a sleeping pillow, you want to put it or across the mat rather than lengthwise. Have blocks handy, whatever you might need. And then what you're going to do is you're going to sit sideways first and then lie down over top of the pillows. And ideally, your shoulder and your hip will both make contact with the floor rather than being lifted up by the pillows. So you might just have to squish them or adjust a little bit. And then you can maybe have a block or a book or even another pillow for underneath your head. And this might feel like quite a bit of a lateral arch or flexion through the spine. So this is where you could take the chip foam block and slide it underneath your hips. And that gives a little bit more lift for the shoulder to come down as well, if you wish. Whatever feels good here. And then just find somewhere comfy for a few breaths. And we don't often get this cool lateral flexion and extension, right, as we're at rest. And what you're getting, probably you'll feel this, is a massage from the pillows as you breathe into the side body on whatever side you're starting on, and a little bit of extension on the top side. And you can go ahead and add a little bit more if you wish, just gently draping that top arm overhead. Some of you might start to actively reach the fingertips away, maybe even extending the top leg. So now you get one long line on the top side of the body. And breathe into that space now that you're creating. Last breath here. You might bend that top knee again just to give yourself a little bit more stability. And then as you inhale, reach that top arm up to the sky. Reach the fingertips up to the sky. You might look up, or you might just keep the head in neutral. You could have a Janana Mudra if you like, and then just start to draw very small circles on the ceiling or the sky or wherever you're practicing. Right? Just gentle waking up of the shoulder. The idea behind this set is that in traditional Chinese medicine, as well as the ancient Indian Vedic ideas or system, the heart and lung meridians run through the arms and the chest. So that's why we're opening them up a little bit. And if you, in theory, get rid of any blockages there, then your immune system will work better. And then slowly start to bring that top arm to meet the bottom arm, palm to palm. And as you inhale, lift the top arm up to the sky. As you exhale, open it out to the side. So you're getting a twist now. It might be gentle, it might be deep. Inhale back up and exhale across. So just a few of these really gentle opening and closing and twisting. And you might keep moving through here. Some of you might choose, when you open up, to pause there for a couple breaths. And you might need to sort of shuffle around to find a better place to be. Super normal for that top shoulder to be completely off the floor. But you might be getting a really beautiful opening through the chest, the shoulders. You might even look in the same direction as that top arm. Whatever feels good. And again, some of you might just be moving. Last couple breaths here. And then inhale back up to the sky. Exhale, close, and then slowly start to press yourself up. Come to hands and knees. A little wiggle, a little shake. Maybe a little cat and cow. You might even have your knees up on the pillows or cushions if you like. And then just releasing, and see again how one side feels to the other. When you're ready, we'll switch sides. You don't have to move your pillows. You can just turn to face the opposite direction if you like. I'm going to move them so that you can see me the whole time. And again, one side can be a completely different experience to the other side. So go into this without any notions about where you're going to end up. So hip on the floor. And these pillows are a bit big, but I can't quite get my shoulder to the floor, but that's the idea. Hip and shoulder both on the floor. Head on the block, and then just pause here, finding, a comfy spot. The top arm might just be draped over the chest or over the hip. Could just be in front of you too. And then maybe you like to add a little bit more. So gentle draping of that top arm over the head. Maybe you extend the top leg. Or maybe you start to actively walk those fingertips away from you. I don't know if you can see that, but we did it on the first side. So now breathing into the cushion, finding more space on that top side. This is my kind of yoga where you don't have to stand up. Good, and then gently bend that top knee again. And then as you inhale, reach the top arm up to the sky. And again, just reach the fingertips up. And start to draw little circles. Maybe you take a Jnana Mudra. It's the mudra of wisdom. Whoa, I don't know if you could hear that click through the microphone or not. But my shoulder just had a big clack. But it's important to keep moving in different ways, especially when we are limited in what we can do each day and where we can go. And it'll get rid of those clacks. And then slowly, gently bring that top arm to meet the bottom arm. And we'll go ahead and start the twist. So inhale, open up to the sky. And then exhale, open back. And then inhale back up. And exhale down. So a few of these. Just starting to get into that movement. You might need to move the block to adjust underneath the head. Depending on your space, maybe you have a bookshelf behind you. You might just cactus that top arm as you open up so that you don't knock anything down. And then maybe you pause, open, right, in that twist. Just starting to feel that opening through the top shoulder. Or maybe you keep moving, a few more breaths wherever you need to go, whether it's in movement or pausing in the twist. And then slowly, gently press yourself up. Come to hands and knees. Little wiggle, little shake. Oh, cat and cow or big ripples through the spine. Just move however you need to move for a couple breaths. And then step into a standing forward fold. Knees bent, right? Give yourself lots of space in the lower back. You can bounce, you can sway. Just getting a little bit more traction through the spine maybe, or maybe even through the neck. You could bring the hands behind the head. Last couple of breaths here. And then fingertips to shins. Inhale, lift up partway. Exhale, let it all go. 2 more. You can flutter your lips. And then slowly start to roll up to standing, 1 vertebra at a time, unless you know it feels better on your body to come up with a flat back. And then a couple loops of the shoulders, up, back, and down, little wiggle, whatever you need to do. Standing, I just said it's nice to stay lying down, but grab your dowel or your broom or whatever it is that you're using. And I'm not going to try and recreate as much as we did with the strap the other day, just so that you have lots of options to play with. But we will do a little bit. So inhale the dowel up overhead, and then make sure that you're not shrugging them, compromising that space that we created. You might need to take a wider grip, like a downward facing dog sort of grip, belly button to spine. Lift through the heart, inhale, lift. And exhale, reach over to the left, send the hips to the right. Oh, that feels good. Getting into that side body, pull down with the bottom hand, resist with the top hand. And then inhale back up. Exhale over the opposite side. Couple breaths here. You could be still. You could be moving, really pulling in opposite directions with the hands. And then inhale back up. Good. Inhale here. And as you exhale, start to bring the dowel behind you, just as a transition. And then take your hands a little bit narrower. You might be wider, might be narrower than hip width, but whatever you need. Either palms facing back or facing forward. If you know that one doesn't work on your shoulders, then don't do it. And then bend the knees, come into a forward fold again. Right, so you can see I've got my belly resting on my upper thighs to start with, just to see how that feels, because this is more about getting into the shoulders than it is about the hamstrings, although you can go there as well. And then inhale, lift the dowel up. There we go. But make sure the shoulders aren't dipping forward, right? Wrap the shoulder blades onto the back, still tension between the hands. You might sway a little bit. You might straighten the legs a little bit if you wish. Couple breaths here, really getting into the chest, the shoulders. And then slowly bring the dowel back down. Switch the grip. So if you were palms facing up, do palms facing down. Inhale the dowel up. And move if you'd like to move. Otherwise, keep wrapping the shoulder blades away from each other. And slowly bring the dowel back to your lower back. Pause here, bend your elbows, and let the broom handle or the dowel roll down your spine until you're able to catch it in the crook of the elbows. Belly button to spine. Wrap the shoulder blades toward each other. And as you inhale, come all the way up to standing. Right, and then adjust if you need to adjust, but you want to think of wrapping the elbows, the shoulder blades back behind each other, and then close your eyes, and then breathe, right? Really focusing on the widening of the rib cage on the bar, on the dowel, with every inhale. Keep lifting through the chest, so it's not quite a back bend. Last breath here. And then slowly flick your eyelids open. Bend the elbows. Catch the dowel again. One last thing here. Again, either palms facing forward or back. Whatever feels better for you. I'm going to suggest facing forward. It makes it external rotation at the shoulder joint rather than this is slightly internal rotation, but whatever you need. Little draw of belly button to spine. And then inhale, lift the heart up to the sky. Keep pressing the dowel into the sacrum. So stage one is here. Shoulders wrapping back, really opening through the chest. You can probably feel that across the shoulder joint, maybe across the chest. Some of you might choose to take this into more of a back bend, but you're already in the extension here. Make sure the knees are micro bent. And then maybe you slide the dowel down. Maybe you reach it away from you. So really similar position, at least in the upper body, to what we had when we were in forward fold. Last couple breaths wherever you need to be. This one feels fantastic to me today. And slowly release, shake it out. Ditch the dowel off to the side. We won't need it again. All right. Little draw, belly button to spine. Shake it out a little bit. Inhale, your arms wide. As you exhale, sweep your right arm underneath your left. You can grab the back of the shoulders, maybe the back of the hands come together, or maybe you take the full eagle bind, fingertips into the palm or whatever works for you. And then inhale, lift the elbows, drop the shoulder blades down the back. If the palms are touching, then start to peel them away from the face. This is still a fantastic place to be. Right? So getting into the upper back now. And the higher that you're able to lift those elbows, and the more you're able to peel the hands away, the more you're going to feel that into the neck as well. Couple breaths here. Again, some of you might choose to take it into a little bit of a yoga back bend. Little tuck of the chin. From here, bend your knees, tuck the tailbone under and pull the elbows away. Really finding lots of space between the shoulder blades now. You might stay here, you might run forward a little bit more, even more, depending on where you feel this most in your spine. And really puff the spine back, pull your elbows forward. Last breath here. And then inhale all the way up and open, shake it out. We'll switch right away to the opposite side. Inhale, your arms wide. Exhale, sweep left arm under right. Again, maybe you're here, maybe you're here, maybe you're here, wherever you need to be. And then lift the elbows, shoulder blades drop down, and then peel the hands away from the face as much as possible. All right, and shoulder blades down. Helps get that length, excuse me, through the neck, through the back of the shoulder joint. Maybe you take it into a little mini back bend if you wish, really squeezing the bum, belly button to spine, or just stay here in the stretch. And then bend the knees, belly button to spine. As you exhale, tuck the tailbone under, round through the spine. Pull the elbows forward. And then go wherever you need to go. with it. Last couple breaths, stay where you are. And then inhale all the way up. Shake it out a little bit. Cool. Couple breaths, eyes open or closed in Tadasana. Just notice what you notice. Feel what you feel. Okay. While we're standing, we're going to do a little bit of a neck stretch. Sometimes we do this seated, but sometimes you can get just a different opening while you're standing. So gently bring your left ear to your shoulder. Could be as simple as this. Right? Some of you might reach the right fingertips away, getting into those lateral muscles of the neck. And sometimes this feels kind of weird, right? Just actively reaching the fingertips away. So one thing that you could do is wrap the left arm behind the back and try to grab the forearm on the right side. If the hand manages to get around, then wicked. Right? This is a fantastic place to stay. Spine long as much as possible. It's easy to start folding sideways. Maybe you're here. Maybe you gently add the weight of the left hand to the top of the head. So wherever you need to be, a few more breaths on this side. All right, open through the chest. And then maintaining this lateral flexion in the neck, turn your nose, your chin toward your shoulder, tuck the chin under slightly. And then maybe you still have the grab of the forearm, maybe you're here, maybe you're here. So now the stretch is more posterior, but still on the right side. You might feel this down your arm as well. I'm going to say that's normal because I always do. Okay, if you have your hand on your head, release it. If you have the bind, release for just a moment. Come back to the lateral flexion. Now we're going to try and get into the front of the neck as well, the sternocleidomastoid, or the SCM for short. The idea is to start to tilt or turn the head up, but you don't want to lift the chin. You want to sort of tuck the chin back. And you might be feeling this now on the front of the neck. Maybe you're here as you do this, right? Little, don't lift, although that can feel good. Try and tuck and pull back. And then gently release. Bring your chin to your chest. Little wiggle, little head bobble. Again, you might feel really different now from one side to the other. And then we'll go right ear to shoulder. You might be here. You might reach around. This video is gonna be a little bit longer than I intended, but that's okay. Got one last thing to do after these stretches. Maybe you're here. And again, you might feel this through the front of the shoulder as well, depending on how tight you've been or how many push-ups you've been doing or how rounded forward over screens. And I know I've been doing that, so. Again, maintaining the lateral flexion. Turn your chin or your nose toward your shoulder. Maybe you're here. Maybe you've got the grab of the forearm. Tuck the chin slightly. Maybe you've got a hand on the head. Last couple breaths here. If you have the hand on the head or the bind on the arm, gently release it. Come back to just ear to shoulder. Pause here, and then we're getting into the front again. So slowly rotate the gaze up without lifting the chin. Tuck the chin under slightly, and then you will feel it, hopefully, more on the front of the neck. Right, and really pulling the chin back. Maybe again through the front of the shoulder. And then slowly, gently release, little wiggle, little shake. And then come down to your mat. You're going to set up on the belly. Little wiggle of the hips side to side, untuck your toes. Press the tops of the feet into the earth. And then wrap the shoulders away from the back. But what we're going to do here is, if you can bring your forehead to the floor, bring the forehead to the floor. And then interlace your fingers behind the head. So not behind the neck, not on the top of the head, behind the head. Press the feet into the earth. Squeeze the belly button to spine. Wrap the elbows away from the floor. As you inhale, lift the back of the head up into your hands, sort of pressing your hands up to the sky. Right? You're not using your hands to press down. You're just using them as extra weight. And this is to try to correct that posture where we're always lifting the chin or leading with the eyes, right? So imagine I'm on my belly. I'm going to lift up and back, press, 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 opening through the shoulders. I know you've been here for a long time, so exhale, release all the way down. A little wiggle, a little shake. We'll do one more set. So come back to center, interlace your hands, opposite interlacing of the fingers on the head. Wrap the elbows away from the floor, press the tops of the feet, belly button to spine. Inhale, lift. Keep lifting the elbows. Keep pressing your head into your hands. Keep breathing. Last 3, 2, 1. Exhale, release. Maybe one cheek to the floor. Or maybe you just roll over right away onto your back. And we'll set up for our rest. This is a beautiful place to be. If you would like a little bit more opening through the chest and shoulder, then I'd recommend bringing your pillows or pillow lengthwise now behind you on the mat. Bum stays on the floor, and then you lean back and open up through the chest. You can prop it up any way that feels good. Again, I showed you that one option before of the T behind the spine. So one block here, one block here, wherever you need to go. And once you've found your pose of rest for a few breaths, inhale through the nose. Exhale, sigh. Breath away. Try to spend a few more minutes here. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hope your neck, your chest, your shoulders feel delicious. Namaste.